My Canadian friend.
Canada. And of course, there's going to be a fee to watch it to cover the cost of the space, but it will just be to cover it. It's not a profit thing. It's just, I probably might even lose money on it. Hopefully not. But it's just a way for us all to get together and celebrate the end of the show.
And we're thinking, what, $5,000 a head?
Yeah, something around that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's going to be a really nice theater.
Maybe like if you're a Patreon member, $4,995. I feel like a discount's only fair.
90, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping around 20 or 30, something like that.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Yeah.
So if that sounds good to you, if you want in on it, please go to the RSVP form. I'll give you the link in a second and let us know. One thing we don't yet know is the date. We hope to learn soon. There was a behind the scenes video that came out and it showed October 2nd as when these 8 will start, but then they pulled the video. So we don't know. There's no official date. If that's true, then that means the finale would air on November 20th. So when you
Is that Thanksgiving?
It's around Thanksgiving. I don't think it's... Yeah, Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday, and this should be on a Sunday. But it may be around that time, yeah. So anyway, for now, I really want to get a head count. I was really hoping we would have a set date by now, but we don't. But just answer if you would come if it was on November 20th, or if the date doesn't matter. But we would love it if you'd answer as soon as possible in the next week or so, or definitely by the end of the month. And then once I get a head count, I'll rent a space, and if it turns out more people want to come, then we might not have enough room, so we need to know.
And how do we get to the link? Is it in the show notes?
I'll put it in the show notes, but and I also just want to say it's not a commitment to definitely go, but it's just saying you intend to come if the date works out for you for head count. So it's podcastica.com/TWD finale party.
I'll go and do mine now. Yeah. I'll put a maybe.
After all that.
It depends. See how I feel on the day.
Might miss my flight.
Might miss flight.
I will put a link in the show notes, and I'll also remind you guys at the end of the podcast to go and do that.
Brilliant.
So that's that. So before we get started on this week's episode, how was Croatia and going around and seeing Game of Thrones sites and stuff like that?
Oh my God, it was so amazing. Yes, we were in Dubrovnik, which from the start of season 2 of Game of Thrones was the set of a few of the interiors of the Red Keep, some of the exteriors at King's Landing, and also the exterior of the is it the House of the Undying where Dany's dragons are taken? The House of the Undying. I love that. I was there. Yeah, it was great. Cool. I have so many photos that I can and will share. We had the best time. Croatia's a lovely place to be. Dubrovnik is so wonderful. I loved it so much, and I went thinking that it would be enough to just sort of walk around and maybe see a couple of Game of Thrones places, and it wasn't really my intention to go because I am I was on the record as saying I wasn't a huge fan of season 8, but once I got there and I started seeing locations, I was just like, we have to do a Game of Thrones tour. So we did an amazing Game of Thrones walking tour with a company called Dubrovnik Walks. Our tour guide Branko was amazing. We did 2 tours with him. We did one that was the history of the old town, and the next day we did the Game of Thrones one. He'd met a lot of the cast. A lot of the people in Dubrovnik had been involved with filming. It was really cool to find out more about the whole experience for the town and the local area and how they did everything, and really interesting to see what was real, what was CGI. I hadn't appreciated that Game of Thrones were kicked out of Malta after season 1 because they ruined a natural habitat with some fake sand. Malta, after the Dothraki wedding, Malta would not have them back. So that's how they ended up in Croatia. But
was there anyone on the tour standing by you going,
"Shame. Shame. Shame"?
If Hannah Waddingham would stand near me and shout shame, I'd be a happy person.
I saw you posted a picture of those steps though, right?
We ended the tour. Yeah, we ended the tour near those steps. Apparently, this was my favorite tidbit, was a local, I think it was the local bishop or it must have been the local bishop, tried to organise a protest against the naked walk and nobody turned up. Which I thought was brilliant. But no, we ate amazing seafood, we saw great things, no dragons unfortunately, but I did get an amazing picture of myself at Joffrey's name day balcony because it was my name day while I was there, so I got to do a little thank you. I didn't watch any jousting, sadly, nobody offered to do that, but no, great place to visit. If anyone gets a chance, I thoroughly recommend it. Croatia's wonderful. And they struggle. Well, it's similar. Like I've been to Sonoy where it's Alexandria basically on The Walking Dead, and Albuquerque. I went to all the Breaking Bad sites. And both of those were kind of depressed areas that could use the cat. But the difference is Croatia seems like it's freaking beautiful. Yeah, it is. And I mean, the other thing that I had not forgotten, but was strange, is that they struggled a lot in the early 90s because of the Bosnian War. So Dubrovnik itself was actually much like what's happening in the Ukraine at the moment. Like cultural centres, churches, the old town were shelled, and so a lot of the buildings, basically the UNESCO, it's like a World Heritage City. So UNESCO and the EU funded a lot of sort of renovation to Dubrovnik to get it back to what it was before all the kind of conflict. But some of the buildings had kept the odd like mortar shell, like mark on the wall, or places where bits of shrapnel had hit the building, just to keep that kind of memory alive of what had happened only 31 years ago. So that was really intense. And yeah, as a country, I think they really rely heavily on tourism. And I think because the Game of Thrones finale aired the year before COVID, they haven't really had a chance to see what the impact is going to be of are people still going to come for loads? I think so many people will still come for Game of Thrones tours, but
I think so.
I think it's going to be hard to gauge. You absolutely should thoroughly recommend it. So yeah, it sucks to be back in the UK, but we had a lovely time, and I'm
glad you got to have a nice vacation and have a good time and all that.
And I got to listen to the podcast, which is always a treat. And I thought that Jamie and Rima and yourself did an absolutely amazing job covering last week's episode. So that was a real joy to come back to.
I think your name must have come up a couple of times. Oh, it
probably
was about
just
the Mercer scene, the sex scene, or no, not the sex scene, the workout.
I have no comment. You know I'm a Hornsby girl. I would never say anything.
Sure. All right. Well, that's awesome. Let's. We have such a long show today. We got some comic talk, and we're going to talk about the episode. Tons of listener feedback. So let's get into this week's episode. The Walking Dead season 11, episode 16, Acts of God, would be the final episode of the season if we didn't have 8 more to come. So I'm thankful that we do. But what'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it. Okay. It felt a little bit unsatisfying in the sense of like, I don't know that it went out with a bang so much as a whimper. I was really expecting at least one kind of main gang death. I don't know why I'm acting like it needs to have a death to be a good episode. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean, R.I.P. Marco. We hardly knew you.
We really did hardly know him.
He literally stood up, and I was like, "That dude's dead." And then, like 2 seconds later, he got shot in the head.
And now we know why because he's been around for a while at Hilltop, but he's in the background. And earlier I think in this group of 8, he talked to Elijah more, and Elijah was talking to him about how he had a crush on Lydia and stuff, and I think that's the reason why, is just so they could make him a little more prominent before they killed him off. Yeah, I was literally like, what is that dude's name? And they're like, Marco, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering. But it was fine. It was a good episode. I watched it in my hotel room in Croatia on my birthday, so it was a nice way to end my birthday. But nice. Yeah, I really hope they pick up the pace a little bit in the final 8. I think the first 16 have been generally of a high quality, but I am feeling a bit like, oh, we only have 8 left, let's get things moving. Yeah, I've been getting more and more disheartened about how this series is ending, because the more little bits that come out in interviews, it sounds like that there were obstacles to landing this plane correctly. Like, that they let the AMC decided when they were well into planning of the last season that this was going to be the last one. And so they had to figure out how to, and then having to account for the spin-offs, and also Angela Kang didn't know the spin-offs were going to be announced early. So that was, and then COVID also put a damper on things. And of course, yeah. I'm getting the feeling they're like, well, we did the best with what we have, but we had to kind of rush it, and it's going to be open-ended because of these spinoffs. And I mean, hopefully it'll be good, but I'm not as hopeful as I was before that it's going to be great. And I think that AMC really should have put a big priority on giving this series that we've been watching for so many years a really good ending, because the ending is going to impact how the series is seen and thought of for years to come, like Game of Thrones. Who people, yes, absolutely still admire and think of one of the best shows ever, but its legacy is really stained because they didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, that's the thing. It was funny actually being in Dubrovnik and thinking about it. It made me so nostalgic for when the show was amazing.
Yeah.
In terms of Game of Thrones, and weirdly it had me in the same kind of headspace as you, of thinking like, I mean, two things I really noticed this week are, well, we've prepared for comic talk, which is great, so we'll come to that. And I'm very, very fond of this sort of final arc in the comics, and I do feel a bit like we're just not getting quite the same resonance, and that's kind of crappy. And I'm missing as well. So we have a very split cast, and I'm sort of feeling like I'm not spending enough time with any of them except friggin' Leah. Like, I'm spending too much time with, but not anymore. R.I.P. Leah. But when I was watching the main credits, I was sort of like, do you know what? We do check in with these guys most episodes, but I just feel like it's spread quite thin, and I'm missing some of the B characters. Like, where are Magna and Yumiko? Like, I want to know what Yumiko's up to. We've seen her once. Oh, don't even get me started on Luke, girl. Like, looking at that lineup at the end, I was just like, "Where's Luke? Where's Luke? Is he in the lineup? What's happening? Oh my god!"
He's like Heath.
So I just, yeah, like Heath. He's just friggin' disappeared. So I am feeling a bit like, how is this all gonna come to an end? Because I think I don't care about the Rick Grimes movies that much. I'm like you. Yeah, I want a good ending to the show, and I don't think that spin-offs... And the thing is, I don't blame the writing team for this, I blame AMC. Like, that's the thing, is I'm like, very much like, this is AMC's fault.
I do feel like this is having... It's a little different than what's in the comic, but for me, they've achieved some of it in a much better way. Like, really feeling what it's like to have the different classes and the frustrations that come along with that, and all this stuff. I mean, we'll talk in comic talk, but they've added a lot of stuff that wasn't in the comics. If you want to hear about that, listen to the comic talk section, and I think it pretty much works. I mean, it's neither better nor worse than the comic, but anyway, but I don't feel like that there's enough runway left to land it properly. You know, I think it's been great up until now, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm nervous. Yeah, I hope I'm proved wrong, and I hope that they've had a chance with these 8 episodes to do it. But I do feel a little nervous, a little apprehensive, and I do just feel that these spin-offs have just taken so much of the tension out.
I know.
You know,
yeah.
I'm like, oh great, okay, Daryl and Carol will live, Maggie and Negan will live. Like, it's
they should have just they already announced Daryl and Carol. Leave it at that, and then they can surprise us with the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so anyway, I actually really liked this episode. I thought it had some, I don't know, is Walking Dead getting much better at action, or have my standards just lowered? But I think it's good.
I thought the action in this episode was pretty top, to be honest. Yeah.
And it was a kind of an abrupt shift with Lance, which we'll talk about, but I think it makes sense, and it was thrilling to watch. And there were a couple of missing things in there that they kind of yada-yada'd over, and I'm like, really? I don't know about that, but otherwise, yeah, I thought it was a good
one. Geography was interesting.
Yeah.
Those woods are both very big and very small.
They're whatever the writers need them to be.
Yeah, they're Schrodinger's woods.
Let's get into our points.
Okay, so going off that, I guess, Maggie and Leah's showdown was pretty cool. I thought it was very visceral and vicious, and it was cool to see these two actors just really letting loose with one another after the kind of tension and the silence in the woods and the way it was shot very intimately with the faces of the people involved, so you could see, you know, the whites of Maggie's eyes and Leah's eyes, and ending with that kind of pistol whip where Maggie gets knocked out entirely. I thought Lauren Cohen looked like shit, but in a good way. Like, you could see that Maggie was like at her absolute kind of frantic end of her tether, and having the scene take place in the cabin where we'd kind of been introduced to Leah was really full circle. Little department of suspension of disbelief that she didn't tie the ropes well enough so that Maggie couldn't untie them. I was like, again, the Reapers, you are crap at what you do. Like, why can't you just tie people up? But I thought the kind of tension between the two of them was very well done. Again, suspending that disbelief of like, why don't you just kill people? Why do you always, you know, that James Bond villain thing of like, no, I'm going to explain what I'm going to do. I'm like, of course you are. Gives us just enough time for Daryl to turn up. That said, I thought the visceral, vicious fight that the two of them had was brilliant.
Especially when the knives came out. Like,
oh my god, that was so brutal. I was like, bloody hell. And the punching, like punching Maggie in the face. I was
grabbing
like,
each other's
crap.
arms, and yeah, it just
Oofed.
they have a really good fight coordinator now, I think.
I think they do, and I think Lauren Cohen has gotten a lot better as well. I feel like because she went off to do that show that was very action heavy, she's come back with like even more skills than she had in the first place, and she was very skilled right from the word go. And Daryl comes in and finishes the fight for them by shooting Leah. Not a bit of emotion on his face. It seemed to be quite an easy decision for him.
It's wait, I think I know her. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh, it's like crazy girl. I used to. It's crazy ex-girlfriend.
Exes, jeez.
Yeah, God. I'm a big fan of the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and there's a character in that show who at one point reveals creepily to another character, he goes like, you took my virginity. And every time Daryl is on screen with Leah, Peter leans over and goes, you took my virginity. It really ruins the tension. It's like, oh, she's over there, you took my virginity. So yeah, I don't know if that's the cabin where Daryl was deflowered or not, but it would be very poetic if it was.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I loved that whole kind of...
It just made me like Peter a little bit more than I already did.
Don't watch films with him because he will just make you laugh.
That's hilarious.
So yes, Leah, Maggie at the cabin, brilliant. And Leah getting a badass kind of Terminator stride away from Hilltop was really, really cool shot as well.
It felt like it was right out of the... I mean, I was like, okay, Lance has all his crack, mercenaries going in there to kill Maggie, but Maggie has it's the big Barrington house, the like centerpiece of Hilltop, but she sacrificed it with these booby trap explosives and killed some of them. And I'm like, wait, did she kill all of them? It seems like that's what she thinks. And then Leah comes striding out completely untouched from this totally burning building. Dun, 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 dun. Very Terminator.
Oh, the music as well for this episode was perfection. So good. And Leah's just like, nah, I'm doing it my way. And I like that Leah and Maggie, there was kind of that parallel of both wanting to end things on their terms, like with what Maggie says to Negan and Annie about, this is my fight, I started it, I have to finish it. And I think that Leah has a very similar kind of outlook in that way.
Yeah.
By Barrington House. It was cool seeing Hilltop all shelled out. I did like that because we've not really seen the interior since the Whisperers were there. So it got me wondering, like, did they burn the original set? Like, how did they do it? But it looked really cool and kind of haunted and haunting. And
right.
It really felt like goodbye to Hilltop this episode, which was sad. But
we've
also
thought that before. I mean,
era.
Look at the end. The Commonwealth flags come down. They're rehabilitating it again.
Why the hell did they? I mean, like, it's not that great.
Right, I know. It's like one building. Like there's
it's
other
like
buildings.
One building and loads of port cabins and Glenn's grave. Like, I mean, fine, I guess. Like,
there's a nice basement.
Yeah, there's a basement that's very handy. You can never be seen. It makes you essentially invisible.
Well, let me talk about that one a little bit too. So, after she comes out Terminator style and she kills Marco. And for some reason, Maggie and Elijah and Lydia decide to split up. they all say, or Maggie's saying something like, I'm going to lead Leah and the others away and you go. And then Lydia's like, I'll go lead the others away too. And then they go separate directions. So I guess that's an excuse to get Maggie by herself, right?
Let's do this together, apart.
Yeah, the writers are like, this doesn't make sense. We'll just say it really fast and no one will notice.
Lydia and Elijah just want to make out, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll be over here.
We'll be over here smooching.
And then it was similar with Daryl, Aaron, and Gabriel. They also decide to split up to cover more ground. It's just to get Daryl alone. So then Maggie's out there, killing that one creepy lady, Zed. That looked like a ghost almost, and
it was like a weirdly intimate zombie kill.
Yeah.
Like they really went for like up close and personal.
She was trying to be quiet, and we hear her steps, and then you hear an occasional crinkling. That's Leah, and I didn't even notice that on first watch, but on second watch, I'm like, when is she gonna pop up? I was more nervous. Like, and then when
they do the what's the name of the violin strings? Like,
oh yeah, and then she slammed the butt of her. Cool. I jumped at that. That was good.
So good.
She wakes up tied to the chair, and I thought it was at first. I thought it was stupid. Leah didn't shoot her, but she wants her to see her friends die in front of her, which is kind of deliciously vicious. So, okay, whatever. But Leah, like, it's the same thing as it was with Negan. Everyone's like, yeah, Negan had the right to kill Glenn and Abraham because they killed his people in their sleep. And I'm like, yeah, but he started it by doing a bunch of bad shit before that. Same thing with Leah and Maggie. Like, Leah's mad at Maggie because she said she would let her people go if they dropped their gun in that standoff, and then they dropped their guns and then she shot them all. But Leah kind of started it by going in and with her people and brutally murdering all of Maggie's friends first.
I think Leah did start it, but I think what Maggie did was pretty dirty because they agreed one thing and then she just shooting someone in the back is quite bad. I'm on Maggie's side. I thought the Reapers were awful and they deserved what they got, but I can see why Leah's pissed. I'm
fully on Maggie's side. They came into her town and brutally killed, and they just kill everyone they see just because they think that's what God wants them to do. Like, fuck those guys. I don't mind telling them, oh yeah, you'll be fine, just drop your guns, and then wasting them. I don't care.
Oh, Jason.
It's like, dude,
I am never playing paintball with you, man. That sounds horrible.
I know. I played Assassin. And you know that game? It's where everyone gets the name of someone they have to shoot with a squirt gun, and then when you get them, if you kill them, then you get their person until there's one left. And there was a night where we were with friends, and there were guys playing the game, driving up next to us, and roll down your window, and we're like, no way. And then because we didn't know who had who, and they're like, we'll call a timeout. And I'm like, there's no timeouts. If you open the window, I'm going to kill you. Anyway, no, I mean, in this case, like, I understand what you're saying, and I can see the reasoning behind it. But what they did was they just need to be gone. That's what I think, whatever it takes. But you're right. I mean, I see what you're saying too. Anyway, so here they are. I mean, like, could Leah really say, I know that I came and killed all your people, but then you lied to me and killed mine. Like, you're worse. I don't know. Anyway, so then that great fight that you covered very well was awesome. And then Leah would have killed Maggie. She had the knife pressing down into her chest, and Daryl came in and killed her. And it's just like, he didn't even have to think about it, which I think... he probably is like, I should have probably done this last time I saw you.
I feel like this has gone on too long. Like, I've not been given clear messages.
I mean, it was more just like, okay, if I don't do this, my friend's going to die. So
yeah, exactly.
It was good. I'm glad. I mean, Leah, it bothers me that people are mean to the actress, just like anyone on The Walking Dead who plays a character we don't like, and they ascribe those characteristics to the actress. But aside from that, Leah was a shitty person, and I'm glad she's off the show. I don't even want to see her anymore. So good.
She's done. She's gone.
Yeah,
goodbye.
that's how I feel. Okay, can I do a point now so I can do a fresh one? Okay, go ahead.
No, you go for it.
I'm just kidding. All right,
go for it.
So Lance goes full force.
Oh, ooh, I'd read that fanfic.
He's through playing around.
Woo! It's very hot in here.
So he like, I did feel like, wait a minute, Lance is this guy who he's persuasive and manipulative, and he wears this mask, and now all of a sudden he's like, okay, kill everyone.
Yeah, just fucking kill them. Just kill them all. I don't care anymore.
But I think second watch, it started to make more sense. I mean, it does feel a little bit like, okay, Lucy wants to increase the pace, so let's just forget about all these plot devices and just have him kill everyone. But he'd already, I think he'd already decided to do some of this before, but we didn't know it. Like, we kept wondering, why is Lance letting people get away with things on the rooftop at the apartment complex? He suspected Aaron and Gabriel were in league with that group and maybe knew someone else there, and maybe Maggie helped and all that. But when they said, no, that's not true, he was like, okay, never mind. And then at Hilltop, Daryl pointed a gun at him and threatened to kill him, and nothing seemed to come of that. And clearly he thinks Maggie was helping the apartment complex group. And the Herschel hat thing, I think one of the listeners wrote in saying, because we didn't think it totally made sense.
He's met Herschel before.
Yeah, he's met Herschel, so maybe he kind of knew that was Herschel's hat. I forgot about that. But anyway, he left Hilltop without doing anything, if I remember right. But now we realize, all right, he's been keeping notes of who his enemies are, and now he's ready to, quote unquote, clear the field, leaving only allies behind. And so Daryl, Aaron, and Gabriel are with Lance's men looking for, I think, either the killers or the guns, I'm not sure which. But we find out Lance told his soldiers to kill them once he gave the signal over the radio. So he hadn't forgiven them. He just wanted to catch them off guard.
I think Lance doesn't like to... Lance
Tip
likes
his
to set
hand.
up... Yeah, he doesn't like to go with more of Lance's hands analogies. I don't think he likes to get his hands dirty. So last week with Leah, what he saw was an opportunity to get rid of Maggie without his fingerprints on it. I fully expect that afterwards... Yeah, I fully expect that afterwards he would have disposed of Leah or, sent her away. And I feel like with Daryl and Aaron and Gabriel, he's waiting for them to implicate themselves. Like, it's never as... I feel like what we see at the end of this episode is that maybe changes and it becomes, no, I'm just going to be proactive and fucking kill people.
Yeah, because the end kind of goes against what you're saying.
Yeah, the end
we didn't
is
really... Like, we see all those Commonwealth flags come down like it's World War II Nazi flags or something. But at Hilltop and Alexandria, and then the whole thing at Oceanside where he may be about to kill them all. But we don't see him take over those places. So I wonder if there was a time jump, or that's the yada yada part. Like, he had to have brought soldiers in and said, okay, we're taking over now or something.
Wouldn't have been that difficult at Hilltop.
But Alexandria, we didn't see, like, did they put up a fight or what?
Yeah, I wondered about that. Because I was like, who's there? I was thinking in my head, like, who's in charge there? Like, it's hard to know. I think the Oceanside thing worried me a lot. Like, are they about to get all killed? Like, what's going on there? I hope not, because they've been through a lot, but...
Well, okay, so, when Lance sees that Leah is dead and has failed in killing Maggie, he sees her dead body there, he goes, now we take it all. So I guess that's what prompted him to decide, all right, I'm through playing around. Like, maybe he was just going to try to assassinate the leader and blame it on somebody else, but that would give him leverage or something, or weaken them so he could try again. But anyway, at the end, we see those banners come down, and I think that's supposed to mirror imperialism, where they would, like, England would go around and take over all these other countries, and they'd maybe try peaceful missions and religious missions at times, but if there was pushback, then it got violent.
Oh, I don't know if they even needed pushback half the time, but I take your point. In fact, that reminds me of something Megan said a few weeks ago when she was talking about the kind of colonial language they were using to describe the people of Riverbend. And that was something that really stuck out for me, and I was so pleased that Megan mentioned it. And one of the things in this episode that kind of provoked that again is Lance talks to Leah about getting the scalp of her enemies, and like getting, in uses that as a euphemism for how she's going to kill Maggie. And that's a very, I know it's quite a loaded term because scalping was something that was often associated with the demonization of sort of indigenous people in North America and places. So it's interesting to me that the Commonwealth really do kind of bring in these sort of imperialist ideals of what it is to colonize and to take places over. And yeah, the imagery at the end of this episode was very much that. I really hope I'm wrong about Oceanside and that they're all happy and being held hostage or something, but it didn't look good.
Well, they're all lined up with their hands tied behind their backs, and Lance flips his coin. This is the coin that his father gave him that he thought was gold, but it's gold plated with regular old lead inside or whatever, or nickel. And I think it was clearly him deciding whether to kill them all. And then I think Angela Kang even confirmed that in an interview. So Lance is now Two-Face, the Batman villain.
He even looks a bit like the guy that played him in the Aaron Eckhart, right?
Maybe he'll have half his face burned off next time.
Well, he has half his face shot off at the moment, so it could be.
So funny.
It could be.
And he also first flipped his coin to decide if one of those soldiers was assigned, I guess, to the group that was going to attack Hilltop. And I was like, okay, we just saw him flip that one coin, but did he do the coin flip for every single soldier?
Oh, what a flipping waste of time, literally. I would be like, can you not just do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2? Like, none of us care.
Like, what if you don't get the right amount of soldiers for each group? Nope, this is how I do it.
What if it lands on its
OCD,
side?
Sorry.
No, I'm just going to keep doing it. Like, oh God, this is going to take 5 hours.
But for the Hilltop thing, I actually thought it was pretty interesting because he's so calculated and he's a planner, but the coin gives it a feeling like I'm so good I can just leave this really important part up to chance and I'll be able to make something out of it either way that's to my benefit. Like, it's cocky and kind of crazy.
But also, like, does he call out beforehand? Like, what? Heads you live, tails you die? Or does he just flip it and then go, no, yeah, it's the one I wanted. Yeah. Yeah, did I not say, yeah, tails you die? Yeah.
I would hope not. I hope
not.
He actually knows which is which, and then he's going to do what it says. The only other point I had on this was that the banners came down, the Commonwealth banners, right after we see the paper with Connie's article. Pamela Milton throws it down on Max's desk. Milton is lying to you. Milton's adult son used innocence in a deathly money grab. So I wonder if there's a time jump in here, and after that Pamela's knows about what Lance is doing and has sanctioned it. You would think she would have to.
Well, she'd need to commission the merchandise. Like, unless he took the banners with him.
But I mean, it would take soldiers.
It
would take, and also, I mean, they're conscripting. Is that the right word? These communities into the Commonwealth involuntarily. So you'd think the head of the Commonwealth would have to sign off on that. I don't know for sure, but I was just wondering.
Yeah. No. I think that's a fair point.
All right, that's all I had for that one.
Alrighty, what have I got now? So last week when I was listening to y'all and really enjoying it, I think it was Rima compared Lance Hornsby to Littlefinger, and being in a kind of Game of Thrones place at the moment, I thought that was a really good point. And I think I don't have much to add to what you've kind of said about him there, but I really feel like he's somebody who's quietly, completely losing his cool right now, and not so quietly towards the end, but his manipulation and his the way he's kind of just, I don't know how to describe this in a really kind of cohesive way. I found him to be really compelling to watch, as everyone knows, #horny for Hornsby. But I loved that he asked Leah to show him Maggie when she was dead, that he needed to see her, because Maggie clearly scares him. I think there is, it's testament, I think, to the strength of our group that they've rattled Lance and that he's worried about her and her being there. And all he's doing in his actions is, I think, strengthening their alliance. In leaving only allies behind, he's strengthening this kind of allyship between the two. And I'm pretty sure, I think I'm kind of mashing 2 points together here, I'm pretty sure Daryl and Aaron and Gabe were being sent to their deaths. Like, they were being walked out of range so that they could be shot. Yes, and I didn't really appreciate that the first time I watched it.
On the radio, the guy said, Lance was like, "Where are you?" "Oh, we're in area 2, clearing it." And then he said, "Okay, well, finish such and such and finish it. And I really caught on second watch, finish it, and finish means kill these guys.
Yeah.
That he was signaling to them to kill Gabriel, Aaron, and Daryl.
But they got the upper hand. They got the better of him. It's I'm just looking through some more of my Lance notes here. It's mainly just love hearts and Dr. Lucy Hornsby. I heart Lance. Where can I buy a waistcoat? What else have I written here? Oh yeah, he's pissed at Leah, which I also really enjoyed. Leah's doing it her way. His need for control is very, very evident, and I thought it was interesting to open the episode on this scene of him, the point where he loses some control, where Hilltop's burning behind him. We see the stormtroopers. He's got blood on his shoes. He's usually immaculately turned out, so him stepping in this blood is quite telling and quite symbolic. He's asking how many escaped. They're talking in this very clipped language, almost militaristic. And seeing Lance be like, your way got my men killed, and Leah's like, collateral damage, was quite funny, I thought, to see him kind of on the back foot of people not quite doing things his way. So yeah, I think he's like a slightly less efficient Littlefinger. I think that is the kind of machinations he's heading for. Peter has a theory that Lance is involved with the Resistance to the extent that he wants the Miltons out so that he can take power. I haven't tied my flag to that theory yet, but I'm still uncertain about two things. One is the kind of noir-esque gang that he's hanging out with when we find out Stephanie's real identity. And two is we still don't know who he was sending weapons to. These weapons that were stolen.
I think he may have been trading for the weapons, but I'm not sure.
We still don't know. All we know is that it's like the other thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just not sure. Is there a militant group that he's supplying?
Like,
a coup? Like,
I
don't
really
know.
don't think he's part of any kind of a resistance. Well, I guess resistances do start that way, where there's the populace gets so disgruntled that they decide to rebel and fight back. Like their lives get so bad, which I don't feel like it is quite like that, but it could be.
No,
but,
and I don't think
but
he would,
he's not. He's part of the problem, so he would have to, if he was going to head up a resistance or a rebellion like that, just completely lie about himself, which I think does kind of happen. I don't know. I don't think. I would guess Peter's not on the right track about that, but it could be wrong.
Yeah, I can kind of see it going either way. It's sort of like how Littlefinger's ultimate aim was to control the North. That was his ultimate goal. So he did all this other stuff to kind of put that in motion. And I wonder if Lance's ultimate goal is to take Pamela's place. But I don't think he's like... I don't think he's a cool-ass rebel who's doing it for all the right reasons. Right. Evidently
but
not.
But he may be taking advantage of this unrest.
Yeah, exactly. So I do wonder what's going on with that sort of little Stephanie group, and on a broader scale with why he was sending the weapons away.
Right.
So I hope that there are answers to that, and
you'd think.
I mean, my only solace about the Oceanside thing is that I couldn't see Luke in the lineup. So that's
there were men though, so I guess
over
the years they've
repopulated.
Let men come back in. Yeah. Can we get some men over here, please?
We'd like some men with the next order of, I don't know, grain. Could we get some men as well, please? Send over some men. It was quite interesting how the coin focused on America as it was falling to the ground. I was like, ooh, symbolism.
So
that's kind of my Lance bullshit for today.
You mentioned Leah, it's a win-win because Leah gets the scalp of the woman who killed her family. And I'm like, how does Lance know that? Did they compare notes off screen and figure it out? And it's quite a coincidence that he found this woman and decided to hire her. I mean, he didn't even have any conversation with her. He decided to hire her to kill Maggie. And then it turned out that she has a history with Maggie and would probably love to kill her. Total coincidence.
Happy coinky dink.
And then I forget why I wrote this note as you were talking, but it occurred to me, like, when these Commonwealth soldiers showed up in the comics with their white armor, it's like, oh, they remind us of the stormtroopers in Star Wars, which are, drawn from the stormtroopers, the Nazi stormtroopers. That's supposed, they're called that because they're supposed to draw from history, like these, this dictatorial empire uses brute force to go in and take what they want and subjugate the people and all that. So when we see it in the comic, it's meant to make us go, oh shit, like, are these bad guys? And I didn't read all of the final arc because I felt like I got to a point where we were in the show and I didn't want to keep going, but I read a lot of it. And at least so far, and my memory, I mean, we'll talk more in comic talk, but I'll just vaguely say it feels like it's more nuanced in the comic. They're not just like these evil baddies. They may do bad things as part of the system that they're caught up in. But here, because this whole Lance storyline isn't really in the comics, where he takes control of a bunch of them and starts just mowing through people or doing whatever he wants, then they are exactly like the stormtroopers in Star Wars in a way that I don't think they ever quite were in the comic.
I agree with that. Absolutely. I think that's, I think it is more nuanced. And it's funny because the comic has much less space and time to work with, but I do really feel that it is more nuanced in that context.
It's just about the plotting. Yeah. The plot. But it's fun. I mean, I think I like the new Lance stuff. I'm digging all this stuff they've added with his character. They made him more interesting than he was in the comic.
I'm just sad that they ruined his face. He'll have a cool scar. So but he's heading even more on the way to becoming Two-Face. So it works.
It's hilarious.
I realized as well, Josh Hamilton was in Alive. Like that film in the early 90s. Not that I spend all my time Googling Josh Hamilton, who, by the way, when you said we would try and get him for an interview, I nearly crashed the car. I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And then I was like, oh no, I wouldn't cope with that. He was in Alive. He played one of the footballers in the plane crash movie about
I read that too. I need to go back and watch that movie. I haven't seen it since it first came out.
It was very traumatizing for me as a child, so I've not revisited it.
It was good though. I remember thinking it was a good movie, but it really was hard to watch.
Yeah.
I think we've become so desensitized to everything now, it would just be no problem.
I would just be like, what an uplifting tale. That's so nice that they lived. Yeah, I'm hungry.
Anybody for
jerky. Yeah, pass me that burger.
All right. It's my turn then, right?
It is,
so, Open Rebellion begins.
Yes.
Max, I mean, they've told Max that everything that Sebastian was doing and sending people out to their deaths to try to get cash for him, and she's really rattled by that and decides that she can't sit still and do nothing. So Eugene convinces her to go look through Pamela's files and see if there's anything about this list of names that somebody gave to Connie. And so she's there at work, I think probably for the first time since learning all this, and shaken up. And I liked that Pamela noticed something's wrong.
Yes.
And it seemed like an office conversation between a boss and an employee. Are you okay? You seem far away. I mean, she seemed potentially, at least in part, to genuinely care, but maybe also part paranoia. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
it was well played.
I feel like Pamela would ask, but also not give a shit. It would be like, "How are you? I'm actually really bad." Oh, great, me too.
Or feel like I'm asking because this is my good deed for the day, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's nice. And you're like, "I just said my day sucks," and it's like, "Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye."
All right, you take care of yourself.
You take care.
But then Pamela's preparing a speech for Founders Day celebration. Had we heard anything about this before?
No, I get the feeling we're building towards this being an event.
Well, any big celebratory event in The Walking Dead is going to be a bloodbath, for sure.
Heads on pikes. Easy as heads on pikes.
Right. So I'm sure that'll be fun. But Founders Day, that's her, and she's giving this righteous speech, and then Max says they have extra money and maybe we can start a scholarship, and for, that money that was put aside for Founders Day celebration. And I think maybe that was one last test of Pamela. Like if she had said, "You're right, we should start a scholarship," maybe,
I felt that.
Maybe she would rethink looking through her papers or files.
It's looking for the humanity in someone, isn't it? It's like they can't be all bad. Is this person that I've got this one impression of, are they the way I think they are? And then she failed that test pretty badly.
Any extra funds go back into the event. So she goes rifling through the file cabinet where there's like 10 folders. Very little files in there.
The admin at the Commonwealth is shit.
Yeah, really. And so she takes out one. I think she took out the one that said resettlements on it. I don't know why.
Also, surely Max filed that. Is Max just not very good at her job?
I know. She's like, oh, I wasn't really paying any attention. I just alphabetized it, but I didn't read it.
Yeah.
So, and you couldn't really see the paper, but she looked kind of shaken up by what she saw. Then Sebastian comes in looking for his mom, and she's all nervous and fumbling around. And I'm like, dude, he doesn't know files. He doesn't care. He's clueless. You don't need to worry. That's what I think, like he I don't think she had anything to worry about, but
they played it
frazzled.
well. The tension was
yeah.
I enjoyed that, and he's looking unhinged. Sebastian's not doing well.
Have you seen my mom?
Why does my mom not love me?
I need some more coke.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I know. You got any cocaine? It's like, no, I'm good. The poor man's drug. Oof, dick.
I know.
What a prick.
So I'm gonna have a drink of my coffee right now.
That poor man's drug.
So then she goes back home with our group of rebels: Eugene, Connie, Kelly, Magna, Rosita, and then Ezekiel comes in, and they don't say much about the list. It feels like weak, vague plotting here, but Tyler Davis is on it, and April, the woman that Rosita helped, that had been sent by Sebastian to get money and got locked in. And Kelly says she counted 200 more names, and there's numbers next to them, which might be coordinates, and they need to crack the code. But since they don't really know, in the meantime, they decide to write an article about what Sebastian was doing. And Ezekiel has people to distribute the article, which answered one of my questions. I mean, I guess they just snuck in and printed it at night. Who knows?
I think he attached one to each of the zoo animals and let them run around until someone.
No, but I mean
the
printing.
Newspaper.
Like, I could see them distributing it, but how would you print it?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really fair point. Like, where the hell are these print presses that everyone has got access to?
Well, even if there is a print press that it's like at the place where the editor does not like anything that's not a pre-approved coming out. But I guess they could have just done it at night. But my biggest question was, is it really smart to write an article about what Sebastian was doing and distribute it when there's this bigger story that they don't yet have enough info to break? And like, wouldn't distributing this smaller story about Sebastian get them in big trouble and risk shutting everything down? Wouldn't you want to wait until you had all the goods to tip your hand?
That is a good question. It depends. Do you want to start unrest? Do you want to start people questioning things? Do you want to start breaking people's trust?
I mean, just in a society like this where it feels like there's no room for gradually introducing stuff like this because it could be shut down is what my thought was. Do you
like want to spend your one shot on that?
On a smaller thing? Like, I mean, in the US, you could do that. You could start pointing out little things and have it grow. But in like Russia right now, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I take your point. It's the kind of press gang rebellion is quite entertaining. It's actually Commonwealth stuff is kind of one of my points as well, so I might end up kind of speaking to some of what you're saying. And I really thought it was nice to see Magna back with them when they were planning it, but it did feel a bit, I don't know, it didn't feel like a finale scene. Do you know what I mean? I was just sort of like, okay, yeah, this is like business, whatever. And the kind of knock on the door, I was really hoping it would be Mercer or Yumiko or somebody with, some kind of sway. So lovely though it was to see Ezekiel, I was a bit like, oh, okay, like, why was that a moment? Why wasn't he just in the room from the start? So it was nice to see them all get kind of motivated and kind of pull things together, but I am a bunch
of animals.
Yeah, he's like, I brought my entire veterinary zoo with me, and everyone's like, that's not helpful. Like,
they're going to deliver the papers.
We really don't need this hippopotamus, Ezekiel. Why is it here? But I thought the scene at the top of the episode with Eugene and Max was very cute, and seeing Max's kind of hesitancy and this fear of like what happens next, what happens once we upset this world order. And I think those are very valid things to feel. Like, it pisses me off sometimes in shows when they're like, we're just going to do this reckless thing, and it's like, well, actually that could have like consequences, and sometimes the consequences aren't amazing. I also take issue with Eugene saying he's had a heretofore uneventful life. I'm like, I don't know. You lived through the zombie apocalypse and sort of lied about a bunch of stuff, saw some weird things, watched a lot of sex between two of your close friends, and kind of...
At least now he gets to have the sex.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, you also, like, became a savior for a bit there. Remember that?
Yeah, sabotaged a bunch of guns. I was thinking, you know, because it was such a nice scene with him, with the two of them, and he said that was a lovely night we had, and she said yes, and how earlier in Eugene's story he was spying on Rosita and Abraham having sex, and now he finally gets to have sex himself. I'm like, oh, no. And they're a really cute couple too, so I hope they make it through this.
Imagine if they panned out and Rosita was looking in the window, like, as revenge.
That'd be amazing.
She's like, what? So it's my turn.
And then I had this thought that I wasn't even sure I should say on the podcast, but so there's like a previous thing with sex with Eugene that has panned out. You know, now he gets to actually have sex. And then I thought, and then with Maggie, one of the earliest things with her was she said to Glenn, I'll have sex with you, kind of out of the blue. Yeah. And now we see Maggie and Herschel, the result of sex with Glenn.
Ah, yeah. The Bisquick.
Yeah, that's right. They should give him that nickname.
I really wish that was his middle name, Herschel Bisquick. That'd be so cute.
Oh my god! Why is that middle name Bisquick? Because we love pancakes, honey.
We love pancakes. What is Bisquick? It doesn't exist anymore. Well, you know, your Uncle Abraham.
Oh my god! So glad I brought that up.
The tone has been lowered by both of us. I enjoyed that when they started the Pamela Milton office scene, when she was saying when this world fell, we hear her start talking before we pull away from that very dead red shirt, and Daryl saying he ain't here anymore. I thought that was quite a nice kind of segue from the brutality of outside the Commonwealth to being inside the Commonwealth. And yeah, Sebastian's just such a little dickhead. I didn't want him to touch Max or be in the same room as her, and that was a very well played tense scene. So I don't know. I can't comment on any kind of time jumps or whatever, but I'm super pumped to see what kind of becomes of this sort of illicit newsletter that's going around. I think that's going to be a bit of a hot potato in the Commonwealth.
I wonder if Pamela slammed it down on Max's desk as if to say, did you have something to do with this? Or was it more like, have you seen this crap?
I love that they've left that open-ended. I'm like, oh no.
If I was her, I'd be like, oh my God.
Oh,
what a bunch of lies.
What a surprise. Where did they get this information?
Please don't check if you have any missing files.
Yeah, please don't look. It's definitely not there. What?
Okay. Do you want to do another one or should I go?
You go for it.
Okay. The Daryl, Aaron, Gabriel action scene where they're looking through homes for either guns or killers. I'm not sure which. Mm. And it's funny almost because they're like, whenever they get a chance to chat over the corner, Daryl's like, as soon as we have an opening, we'll take care of it, which to me, I think means they're going to kill them all the soldiers.
It reminded me of like kids on a school trip when it's like, shut up. And they're like, okay. Yeah. And then as soon as the teacher gets far enough away, you're like, what are you saying? What's happening?
Yeah. And I think they're talking about killing him or at least making a run for it, but I think it's killing him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And then at the same time, like Lance radios his guys, are you at the second station? Clearing that now. Finish, then head back. So so they're all planning to kill each other. And then at the same time, one of the soldiers gives a nod to the rest. Then you see Daryl give the nod to Aaron. And then it's all this tension building up. And then they start this big firefight. I thought that was a nice little moment there.
There is so much subliminal messaging going on between this group. Like they clearly have some sort of psychic. I felt that very much in the episode with The Search of Hilltop last week. I was like, oh, they're all just communicating wordlessly with these like very manly like nods and grunts. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I like it when that's one thing. Walking Dead, I always thought, well, early on there was a lot of speechifying, but I don't think there's as much now. I think they have a better handle on dialogue, and Walking Dead often is better with less dialogue.
My like favorite thing, and I can't decide if it's my favorite thing because I genuinely like it or because I think it's a bit cheesy and crap, is when they like someone saves someone or kills a zombie and then they look at each other and like nod their heads like, yeah,
good job.
Yeah.
Save my life.
Just
Right
love it.
on,
They're like,
right on.
yeah, right on. It really makes me laugh.
So then Gabriel gets shot in, I think, the arm, and Aaron too, or in the shoulder. And the place that they're at with the school bus, it reminds me of where Rick and Shane took Randall to drop him off 18 miles out.
Imagine if Randall was still there. Guys, hey, Daryl!
No, he's dead.
He's long gone.
So then the soldiers, they've surrounded them. I mean, that's kind of the build up to this. They were kind of like surrounding them. And Daryl whacks, I think, the leader guy in the face. And Gabriel sneaks up and stabs a guy in the knee. And then we see a snake. I'm not sure why. Is it Satan? I don't know.
It was just kind of cool. I was like, ooh, awesome.
And then Gabriel shoots another guy in the chest. And then the Zeds show up, of course, because there's lots of noisy gunfire. And but then, and then our people start shooting the zombies. But it seems like there's still several soldiers that have surrounded them. And then it goes to commercial. And then when it comes back from commercial, somehow it's just the leader crawling around and everyone else is gone. All the other soldiers are gone.
He gets a proper like Michael Bay movie, like, I'm just going to crawl to my radio. Yeah. And it's like, nah, mate, you're dead. You're actually dead.
But what happened to the other soldiers? Like, they're like, we don't need to show the part where our guys take out all these soldiers.
Yeah. They're like, yada yada, etc. etc. Yeah, you know the score. Smashy smashy, shooty shooty, la la la.
Like, you think Daryl's gonna die? He has a spinoff.
Yeah, it's just like, oh well, we've announced the spinoff. We can just cut all this footage. No one needs it.
So then he asks this guy, where's Hornsby? And guy's like, fuck you, I'm not gonna tell you. And then he's like, and then they look over and see the zombies. And Daryl just says, it's your choice. And I think he meant, you tell me, I'll give you a quick, merciful death. Otherwise you get eaten. So I don't think Daryl was being straight, so to speak, shooting straight with him.
Yeah. I thought that was how I read it. And I thought, you know what, that is quite the catch-22, but yeah.
So anyway, I thought, aside from the part where they don't actually show how they killed most of the soldiers, it was a pretty great scene.
It was very Wild West shootout, which I enjoyed a lot.
And all of those, I don't always like the shootouts, but like in Fear, there's been a couple dumb ones, but here I thought it was pretty gripping for some reason. I don't know.
It was quite frenetic. Yeah, it was staged well. It was quite frenetic. Yeah, I found it to be quite enjoyable to watch. Mm-hmm. I don't think, I'm just looking to see if I have any other chat about this. No, I've just written like tense music at the junkyard was very good. I loved the he ain't here anymore. I did wonder if Daryl was about to try and impersonate his voice, like, hello, yes, it's me. But it is I, hello, it is me, Mr. Stormtrooper. And they'd be like, is that you, Daryl? No,
Daryl's dead.
Daryl's dead. I killed him. And Lance is like, I hate these prank calls. Stop it. Yeah, no, that's cool. I don't have anything else about that scene at the moment. Anything else?
Any other points?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, one small one and one big one. I guess the small one being, it was kind of like a bit smoke up the ass to call this episode like Act of God when the Act of God was some locusts. I was just a bit like, and
they really didn't have any impact on the plot either, right?
No, it was just literally
more about atmosphere.
Negan's like, if that ain't a sign from the man upstairs. I'm like, we get it, Negan. You don't have to comment on it. Like, yeah. And Leah's like, ooh, locusts. And I'm just like, yeah, I just feel like this would be annoying more than
I feel like we're missing something because the episode is called Acts of God and the opening title card said something about 18 hours before an act of God. And then Negan points it out and then we see some locusts. And I'm like, okay, like it did add to this sort of foreboding, like, oh, things are really fucked up right now. This is maybe a harbinger of doom, but I felt like, man, they really hit it so hard that maybe I'm missing something about what they intended. Yeah.
Same. I was like, was there a miracle? I don't know. All I could think was like, that would be so gross because like you wouldn't really be able to talk. So they'd be in your, like, like when bugs go in your mouth, like, oh, gross. So that's my minor point. But I guess the big point is we got a big character beat in this episode for Negan and Maggie, or more Maggie, really. And I really liked the way they set this up with Herschel not wanting to go somewhere, and they left it a bit ambivalent about what was happening there. And I really found the way that Lauren Cohen delivered that speech to Herschel about choices really powerful. Everything I've done and everything I still do is so that you have choices. The place we're going now, you may not like it, but I promise you that it is the right choice.
Right.
And
but you have no choice. But
you have no choice, but you will have a choice at some point. And I thought that was well delivered, and I liked this idea of like, because Herschel's had quite a different kind of life from a lot of the kids in Alexandria. You know, he's lived on the road. He's, you know, eaten bugs and stuff that Judith is still horrified by. He's been terrorized. Yeah. And I think Maggie talking about this aim being for him to have some sort of freedom and autonomy in his life is really cool in a way, because that's something that you don't necessarily have in the Commonwealth. Like, you have material choices of like what ice cream to have, but do you have real choices about what shape your life is going to take? And I don't think you do, because so much is dictated by what came before, where you were in the social strata, where your parents were. So I enjoyed that scene. And then of course we head to the Kimmy Schmidt bunker where everyone is, Negan and the gang. And we have this scene with Maggie, Annie, and Negan, which is, what did you think before I kind of go into my thoughts about it? How are you feeling about that?
What if they came upon Negan and he had his bat and everyone was on their knees? Like, everyone.
Oh, sorry, Maggie, I'm a changed man. And they're like, Maggie's like, God damn it, Negan.
Damn it, again. Okay, plan B.
Plan B, you asshole.
Asshole. I thought that, so Maggie decides to hide Herschel there because Elijah spotted a few Hornsby's soldiers outside, and I guess correctly guesses they're coming for her, so she wants Herschel to be safe. And so when she says, or Negan's like, he doesn't exactly trust me, and she goes, but I'm starting to, and because he protected Herschel at the apartment complex. I thought, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Negan has shown that he cares about these kids, that he's saved. I don't know if Maggie knows this, but he saved Judith's life. Mm-hmm. I would trust Negan to take care of Herschel. Would I trust him with my own kids?
I was going to say, I mean, Nico.
if it was my last resort, I guess I don't know, but maybe. But I wouldn't forgive him, and he hasn't expressed remorse for a lot of the other things he did. But I do think that it's pretty clear his heart is in the right place as far as protecting kids, and he's a capable person. So yeah.
Can I just say, I called this in like the first few episodes of season 11. I was like, don't say everyone did. I did. I'm smart.
I mean, I think I said it first, but yes, you said yes then after I said it. So
can we get one of our many sound producers to go and just go back and check that? Jason's definitely going to go back and edit that.
No, I mean, I don't mean to belittle what you said, but when you got like, this big specter of Negan coming, and how is it going to handle with Maggie, and he's trying to be reformed, and the first thing that pops in your head is, he'll probably save Herschel.
He'll probably save Herschel. Who freaking hates him. I love the slow motion of them coming out of the bunker and Herschel being like, get off me. Like, don't fucking touch me, man. I thought that was very, very cool. The scene with Negan and Maggie, I'm fine with it. It's moving the story along, which is enough for me. I couldn't do any more of where it was. It just was getting too much.
And I hope with that spinoff, it's not more of what we already saw in the first 8 episodes of this season.
I think I was going to say, I'd rather have them touching each other up, but then I'm like, no,
I don't want that either. So what's the alternative? Hopefully they think of something good we haven't thought of.
Yeah, they're best friends. I don't know. I did laugh because like Negan has a very specific cadence of delivering things, and there was something about the way he was talking to Maggie at the start. I was like, this is like classic Negan delivery of like his lines and his intonation.
When he said, you got big balls, I didn't feel like that really landed right.
Yeah, big ball, Maggie Ree. I got you and I got your boy. If I was Maggie at that point, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take him with me. It's not worth it.
Yeah, never mind.
Also, he stood down so easily.
Climb
like,
up a tree, Herschel, okay.
Yeah, Herschel, do you know what? Up the tree. There you go. Herschel's like, but it's warm in there. Don't care. Up the tree.
Just wait right there, right?
I just feel like there was this moment where Negan's like, my wife, my unborn child, I'm coming to help you. And then like he just stands down immediately. He's like, okay, bye. I'm like, you didn't try particularly hard there, did you, Negan? Like, it didn't take much persuasion for you to be like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'll stay.
I'll babysit.
I'll babysit, it's fine. Everyone, let's play softball. Who's got a bat? Like, he wasn't happy about being in a Whisperer wormhole. I'm not going to make an innuendo about Whisperers and Negan there.
I think that is what that was, right? Because Lydia was the first one we saw, and this is where we find out where they've been sheltered, and it's in this hole in the ground, and Lydia's there. So I presume it was used by the Whisperers before, and she knew about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought he did make a fair point that Hilltop really wasn't worth saving. And Maggie's saying he's right. I was like, I was a bit like, Negan's right. It's kind of... But I was thinking, I think Angela Kang mentions it in the episode Insider, that it is where Glenn is buried. So it does have this like symbolic significance for Maggie. But at this point, I'm like, you need to... It's not worth trying to rebuild this. Like, it's just not. So, yeah, seeing Maggie feel a bit of guilt and responsibility, but also kind of start to turn a little bit of a corner with Negan is refreshing. Yeah. And I thought they played the scene very well together. So that was enough
except for the balls comment. Otherwise,
yeah, we could have done without the balls. At least he didn't try and ball tap her.
Like start winking and stuff.
Yeah, like, hey, ball tapping. Maggie's like, we're not friends, Snake. And he's like, nah, we are. She's like, no, we're really not.
No, that's not what this means.
No.
Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I guess, that was my last point too. So let's move on to notes.
The music in this episode was real good. I really enjoyed everything about the way it was scored. I love Lydia and Elijah. I think that's really cute. Daryl recognized Leah from her traps and fish flies, so that's one way to tell where your ex-girlfriend is.
Wait a minute, Lydia and Elijah, were they like holding hands or something?
They're just flirting. They're just like
really?
Helping each other. He helped her open up the Whisper wormhole. It was very sweet.
Okay, there was like a moment there. I missed that. I know that he likes her. But okay, she's coming around.
Very sweet. I was a bit worried when Maggie said, "I'll find you" to Lydia et al. Because those were Glenn's last words. So it's a bit like, ooh, that's a poor choice of phraseology.
Oh, that is weird. Yeah.
At the cabin, the stormtroopers could just catch up with Daryl and Maggie. I don't like. He was like, no, they got away. I'm like, she's severely injured and they've been gone for maybe 30 seconds, so you probably could catch them. But
I know.
We'll suspend that for now. Damn it, they're gone forever, and it's like you can probably see them.
Right. Just look out the window.
Just look out the window. They're hobbling at best. The end montage was very moving, I thought.
Yeah.
Everyone coming out of the bunker really reminded me of the opening credits to Kimmy Schmidt. Like, it's here. It's all still here. But I thought, Negan and Herschel are still not friends, and we see Max returning the file. Yeah, it was a good montage to end the episode on. And it was cool that the episode has a female writer and director. I think that's probably happened before, but I just noticed it when the credits were coming up, and I thought, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. The second season of World Beyond had all female directors.
It did, didn't it? That was cool. Really cool.
And it was good too.
Yeah. How about you?
Just two notes. So at one point, Lydia's out in the woods with, I think, Maggie and Elijah, and they have to kill some zombies, and they look worried. And I wonder if Lydia in those situations is like, wow, I really need my Whisperer mask, because we used to just like walk around with these guys and it was no problem, but now we're vulnerable.
She just keeps it in her back pocket.
Yeah, I would if I was her. Pocket. Screw these guys.
I mean, it's a useful feature.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking about how I used to be so sick of the themes of this series not changing. That they would always go, how dark can you get, and you never know what you're capable of until you're pushed beyond your limit and things like that. And thankfully they've moved on to other things about class and other themes too, I've noticed over the last couple of years. But now I feel like that first theme may be a bit relevant again, because our people have been tested and challenged big time, and it's forged them into different people, into more formidable people, and they have a lot of scar tissue and all kinds of things. And now that at the Commonwealth, if they're in the society, they're expected to go back to what they were before all that happened, and kind of get small again. And so I feel like that might play out where they're like, no, fuck this. I've been through so much, like I've been forged in the fire of the zombie apocalypse. I'm not going to wait tables or whatever.
Yeah.
So
well, there's a scene in the comic, this isn't spoilery, where a character says, oh, imagine going all the way through the apocalypse and ending up a waitress. And I was like, oofed. I mean, someone has to.
Yeah, that was very particular. It's okay to spoil it. It was Michonne sitting at a table, and now she's a fancy lawyer, and she says that line, and then the waitress overhears her, and then she feels bad about having said it. But I mean, I'm not trying to denigrate waitresses or anything like that. I'm just saying,
no, not at all. I wouldn't think you were. Yeah,
this whole thing, is just like it must be so hard to just be such a badass for so long and having survived, and then you have to like listen to your manager or whatever.
Completely. It'd be enraging. You're like, I've been pushed to the absolute limit of what I know I can do. Like, I've lived through these horrors, I've saved lives, I've done all this stuff, and then it's like, but you forgot to give water to table 5, so you're not getting your tips tonight. Like, that would be so annoying.
Right. I did have one other question, just thinking about the end of the series. What would you say are the chances that Negan ends up being the leader of the Commonwealth?
Oh God, it did cross my mind.
Really?
I was a bit like, well, he's not really been involved yet, and he's really hamming up the good guy stuff. Right. So yeah,
and he needs to be with a group and all this.
I freaking hope not, but it could happen.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like if that happened, I don't know if. I feel like half the fan base would love it and the other half would hate it.
Yeah. It would be very divisive, I think.
I think so, yeah. I don't know.
Untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
Okay, Deadline talked with Angela Kang about this episode. They said, now 2/3 of the way through the final season, Acts of God, we're seeing the relationship between Maggie and Negan change. Is this where the spinoff begins? She says, interesting. We were arcing out this story for a long time before there was any spinoff in the works. So we've not been coordinating our story so much with the spinoff. They're going off of where we end these two, meaning the spinoff people. But we definitely felt like there was a desire on Negan's part to try to prove himself. I'll say that it's notable that he has not yet fully apologized, but this is a guy who I think tries to show his sense of, I don't know, guilt or whatever, that there isn't complete closure. I love that she's saying that, because it's been one of my points, and I sometimes feel like the writers are on a different wavelength, but I like it.
Yeah.
Also, she goes on, I think Maggie, as a very pragmatic leader, definitely can look at what he has done in the current time and gone, all right, he's done everything he can to help my child, and that doesn't count for nothing. So I think for us, it's just a part of their roller coaster or journey that they're on. It still continues. Not all is completely resolved between them, but we definitely love writing for this pair. As played by Lauren and Jeffrey, they're just really good together.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Then they ask, what was the last day of filming like for her?
Oh gosh.
And she talks about, well, it's not done for me. Like, she has a lot of production to do, and her head's still in it, because things go on a long time after the filming's complete. But she also said it was definitely very, a lot of tears were shed over many days, but also just a lot of hugs were exchanged and love was exchanged. It was one of those things where so many people have bonded so closely that everybody kept saying, like, this isn't goodbye. This is just see you later, or wait till the next one. We're all going to be in touch, so don't even say goodbye. So it was that kind of a vibe, I think, with the group, which was lovely.
I'm just not ready to emotionally think about it yet.
Yeah,
and I think she's to the back of my brain.
Don't
I'm
ask me that.
It's fine.
For the actors, it's different. They're kind of done.
Yeah, they're done
in large part. Maybe they'll do press or something. Angela Kang was also interviewed by Entertainment Weekly. They say, what's Leah's plan here when she knocks out and ties up Maggie? Is she planning to kill her, or is she planning to keep her alive somewhere? She goes and kills everyone else. What happens if the tables don't sort of turn later in that scene? She says, I think that Leah probably would have dragged back Maggie's loved ones and killed them in front of her. I think she wanted her to be tormented by having to watch the people she loved die. Nice girl.
No, lovely girl, Leah.
They go, all right, so we see the flags over Alexandria, Hilltop, Oceanside. Was this inevitable? Even if Hillside had not gotten involved in Riverbend? What? Was this always going to be the end result, one way or the other? What does that mean?
I think he means Hilltop.
Hilltop had not gotten involved in Riverbend. She goes, I think they would have considered it unseemly to take these places by force. I think that Hornsby always thought, well, we're going to slowly convince them to submit to us and be part of it. So maybe it would have been in the end result, but I actually think that Hornsby did not want to take these communities by violent means. I think in his mind, he's doing something much more magnanimous, but the history of expansion in the world is a messy one, as we all know. Mm-hmm. So as the story often goes, he got a little impatient and was like, fuck it. I'm taking them now.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. They're giving me too much trouble. They say, what does the Alexandria occupation mean for the folks who are already integrated into the Commonwealth? Like, Eugene and Rosita and everybody. She goes, they always thought, well, this is temporary and we're just going to go home at a certain point and then everything's going to go back to the way it was and we can choose how we're going to run things. And for them, well, that option doesn't really exist anymore. So I think they've got to make some decisions according to what has just played out. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
For them, it's like, oh, wait a minute. We're stuck.
You can't get. I did wonder if Oceanside aren't getting killed, then hostage situation, and that could be the same for the people who are in the Commonwealth. Yeah. Like, how does that play out?
She goes, or they go, what can you say about our final 8 episodes now that you've set the table for those? She says things are going to continue to get increasingly more intense. There are going to be some really surprising turns for the people that they won't see coming, and it's emotional. We really are focusing on a lot of our characters and getting into some of their various stories. What does that mean? We're focusing on our characters and getting into their stories. For a lot of us, we were feeling like there's kind of like this legacy to these characters and how far they've come. And if the Commonwealth is a place where you're judged, this is where I got, I think, that point that I was thinking was my own, but as I'm reading this, realize it was Angela Kang's. If the Commonwealth is a place where you're judged based on who you were a long time ago, does that give you room to prove who you are now? And a lot of our characters are trying to figure out, who is it that I am